special pre-retreat presentation from the All-Woman Universe. First, I'm going to take a moment to say thank you for joining me from wherever you happen to be on God's green earth. If you are seeing and hearing me, then that means that you have already registered for the upcoming 2022 All-Woman Virtual Retreat taking place on January 14th through the 16th of 2022. It's a super fun weekend dedicated entirely to the celebration of you, your dreams, your goals, your purpose, and your unique vision for your life. And hopefully, the fact that you are listening to me right now also means that you have already taken the opportunity to view the first of our two very special pre-retreat mastermind sessions, handpicked just for you. Well, in the first mastermind webinar titled Play Your Game Now, our guest instructor, all-woman's phenomenal in-house coach, trainer, and consultant, Ms. Elzora Watkins-Bellamy, shared 3 key principles with you on how you can get positioned right now to play your best game for 2022. If you haven't seen this webinar, make sure you take time to review it as it goes hand in hand with our Mastermind webinar number 2, entitled Endurance to Finish. As I mentioned in the first Mastermind webinar, the theme for the 2022 All-Woman Retreat is upgraded. So ladies, I'm going to ask you the million-dollar question. Are you ready for your 2022 upgrade? Our pre-retreat mastermind webinar, both 1 and 2, are part of our upgrade for the all-woman retreat experience. These workshops have been handcrafted to inspire you to start thinking about the bold, exciting new steps that you want to take in the new year. We want your 2022 to be the best year you are having love and life and having it more abundantly. So, to get you ready for our upcoming January retreat, and really to get you ready for 2022, I've invited another one of our special retreat guests, an equally dynamic woman who I am honored to count as a professional colleague and a friend, to share some personal life gems on how to endure to the finish. We've looked at how to position ourselves, how to play our best game in 2022 with Mastermind webinar number 1, but now we want to look at some crucial points on how we stay in the game, how we negotiate the ups and downs, the detours that are inevitable along the journey, and how we finish strong. Well, you're in for a real treat because I have the perfect mastermind teacher for this assignment. Help me welcome to the All-Woman Universe our mastermind teacher for webinar number 2, Dr. Pamela Love Manning, who we all refer to lovingly as Dr. Pam. Dr. Pam is an all-around boss, a professional coach, and a proven business consultant extraordinaire whose client base includes individuals, organizations, senior executives, and officials of all levels of the government and the private sectors. She's an organizational change agent, esteemed academic professor, and for our retreat, she is gracing us with her inspirational speaker prowess and her expert instruction on the science of finishing projects or goals that you have started, following through on commitments and promises that you make to yourself, to your family, to others, and to our Creator. She earned both her doctorate and master's of social work from the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and an MBA from Morgan State University. As a skilled entrepreneur, she is the founding owner of the coaching and consulting company DP Love Enterprises. And she's the founder of the Finishers Network, A community organizer, a philanthropist, she is most known for her work with women who have complex trauma history, for her work with at-risk youth and young adults, returning citizens, violence interrupters, and people at different levels of need of public defense. She holds several key appointments within academia, and she's a prolific writer. Dr. Pam has authored a total of 5 self-help books, one which was turned into a highly acclaimed stage play. I've asked her to share some wonderful insights and principles on the subject of endurance to finish, because I believe that it will provide valuable insights to help you to negotiate the inevitable ups and downs that you will face as you stretch to upgrade your dreams, your visions, and your life. So grab your favorite cup of tea, a Danish, a pen, some paper to take notes, relax, and let's have some sisterly engaging dialogue with Dr. Pam on how to endure and finish till the end successfully. Dr. Pam, take it.
Hello, ladies. I am Dr. Pam Love Manning, aka Dr. Pam Love, and I am so delighted to be here with you for the All University Women's Retreat. Woo! Awesome. I want to thank Sonia Williams and the committee for putting this together. They've worked really, really hard behind the scenes. And so if we can you just give them a virtual round of applause? You may have done this already, but give them a virtual round of applause, put in the chat box, whatever, just to say, just congratulations for bringing this all together in spite of all of the many things that different people have had going on and things that are going on in society. We just want to thank the committee. Thank you to Sonia, who is such a visionary and leader, and who I am so grateful for inviting me, and as well to the committee for inviting me to be part of this. And so I'm going to move forward. I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to share some things that hopefully are going to help you, or be at least a piece of what you can use to add to what else you're going to be getting throughout this retreat. Okay. You're going to be getting some wonderful information that you can, if you put it together like a puzzle, it's going to help you to accomplish some things, to shift some things in your life, and to be able to move forward in a way that serves and honors you, but impacts others. So let's jump right into the material. Now, hope you have pen and paper available, because I do want you to make some notes. Okay. I want you to take some notes. I want you to write some things down. So while you're grabbing your pen and paper, your iPad, whatever you're going to be writing, let me give you the objectives for this training. I want you to be able to, we're going to identify some personal characteristics that can impact endurance. Okay. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few. I'm going to give you 8 keys for endurance. I want you to identify your current support system. I want you to think beyond who's around you now. Where are the gaps? What is it that you need? So start thinking about that. And then finally, we're going to develop a draft finisher's endurance plan. I want you to be able to move forward to put together at least a draft of some things that you think about. And again, other things that will come with the retreat may help you to complete this particular plan. So as you've seen, I am Dr. Pam Love, have written a number of books, have done a number of things. I'm a leadership consultant and a coach. I do training. And one of the things that I found is, as a result of writing the books and doing a stage production and many other things, traveling around the country and even having clients outside of the United States, I found that it is very challenging for people to finish some things, but I am a finisher. And so I want to start by having us to affirm some things. I want you to read this and get it in your heart and your mind, your spirit. Say after me, I am a finisher. I make progress, not excuses. Come on, I need you to repeat this. I need you to be saying this. I don't want you to just look at it on the screen. I'm going to start over. Say it after me. I am a finisher. I make progress, not excuses. I am a victor, not a victim. I run a race to finish it, not just to say I'm in it. I am a finisher. I will finish everything I was born to finish. Yes, give yourself a hand. Say, I am a finisher, because I am. I'm a finisher. And that doesn't mean that I don't struggle, I don't have distractions, I don't have challenges, but I have purpose in my heart to complete the things that I know God has given me to complete. And part of this, one of the things I found is it's the endurance to finish. It's easy to start. It's even easy to make a little progress on some things. But are you able to finish what you start? Now, I'm not going to assume that you have not finished some things. Not going to assume that. So, congratulations. Write down right now some things that you have finished. Just write some things that you've finished, whether it's been this year, whether it's, day one, end of year, whatever. I want you just in the last 12 months, what have you finished? There are lots of things that you probably can think of. And I don't want you to dismiss some things that you may look at as small. Oh, well, that wasn't a big deal. Everything's a big deal when you're finishing those things that are in your heart to finish. What have you started and made some significant progress on, right? I want you to be grateful, because gratitude changes everything. Sometimes it's no big deal. Yep, I finish it. And then we move on to the next thing. I need you to show gratitude, be grateful, stop and really celebrate those accomplishments. Okay. And so be grateful. Now, I want you to write down one specific goal. I just told you to list some things that you've accomplished. But while I'm talking, I want you to think about one thing that is really in your heart to finish. And maybe it's that I need to start it. I don't care where you are in the process. Write that one thing down. All right. Because one thing that we found, COVID-19 shifted so much. 2020 was truly, truly disruptive. Yes, yes, yes. Can somebody give me an amen on that? True, 2020 was truly disruptive. And the challenge is that people were isolated. They had lots of things going on. And so, people could put on the smiles, and we were doing our best to survive without human connection, without being in the workplace, without, in some cases, without them being employed, without knowing how bills are going to get paid, or where the next income was coming from, or when you could get back to work, all of those things. People were struggling to try to make it during this particular time. They felt like they were imprisoned. Yeah. Anybody know anybody that was like that? You felt like they were just absolutely in prison. And so it led to a lot of depression and isolation. All of these things listed here. Role strain. For any of you who had children who then became the teacher and the parent and the nurse and the right, the after school provider, all of those things. It was different while still trying to work, while still trying to function. As someone who was a caregiver, who then my business was disrupted because of COVID. And so I was home, I'm trying to work, and it was just quite interesting to navigate, right? And so while we covered our faces, right, the one thing that we couldn't cover was our heart. And I want you to remember something, that the future is calling. The future is calling. Your future is calling. And as I mentioned, your heart got revealed during COVID. Who you are, it is in adversity, it is during times of success that our hearts get revealed. And we can't cover the heart. As much as we put the mask on, we couldn't cover the heart, right? But your future is calling. That which you are supposed to do, your legacy, that which someone is waiting for you to do so that she doesn't commit suicide, so that she doesn't go astray, so that she can be successful in business, so that she can move to another country that she never thought about, but because you did it, your future is calling. It really is. And one of the questions I want you to ask you is, what do you want your future self to be able to look back, reflect on, and say, I did it. What is that one or two things? Remember, I asked you to write down a goal. And so I want you to think about what is it really in your heart? I'm not talking about just, by the end of the year, I want to meet a financial goal. That's all well and fine. But when you make the money, what will you do with it? What's the impact that you're looking for? What's really in your heart? Is it a building that you want to purchase, or so that people can move into and, rent free or stay? Women who have been incarcerated, who don't have services, and you want to be able to provide those services. Is it something else that's in your heart? A book that you want to write, that you've started to write, that will change someone's life or inspire someone to make a difference? So what is it that your future self is going to say, that you want the future self to say when she looks back? And that's not a question that I'm just asking you to just move on from. I really want you to think about that. Because one day, God willing, we all move forward. We live and we do reflect. I know even in my late 50s, I'm reflecting. I'm reflecting as I look at my children who are in their 30s. I'm looking at their lives. And so I'm technically beyond childbearing age. I don't think I would have children if I could right now. But the point is that I'm reflecting. It is different when you start looking back. And I can only imagine as you get older, as I'm looking at my mom who's in her 80s, as she's reflecting, as she's looking at us. What do you want your future self to look back and say, I did it? Or to be able to look at others and see what has happened. And so my question to you before I get into these keys, are you really going to finish what's in your heart, or are you going to bury it? Which are you going to do? Now, some of you are saying, got this. I'm doing some stuff. I can endure. I can move forward. I can get things done. And, but what I want to remind you is all fruit is not good fruit. All fruit is not good fruit. So sometimes we're producing stuff, but are we producing the right stuff? Dr. Miles Monroe used to say that, we do a lot of good stuff, but we're not always doing the right stuff. What are you producing? I don't know if some of you have been around, many years ago. I'm dating myself again, but it was interesting that on the table in the dining room, we used to have this bowl of plastic fruit. And while the fruit looked really good and looked like it would be great to eat, you couldn't do anything with that. Don't produce plastic fruit in your life. You're producing things, but yet we want you to be able to endure so that the fruit that you produce not only looks good to others, but that it's impacting them in the right way. Because bad fruit can cause problems in people's lives. Bad fruit can cause problems for your life. And so we want you to produce good fruit. We also want you to start to finish. Don't just start just to say you started something. We want you to finish for the person behind you. There are people, there's somebody that you're going to pass the baton to. Now, because finishing is a continuum, it's important for you to remember that what you start, you might not finish in this lifetime. You may end up passing the baton to someone who will finish, or someone picks up the manuscript, or they pick up something that you started and they finish it, or they build upon what you've started. So that's really important. The key is you've got to move forward with the things that are in your heart. If God has placed it in your heart to do, there's a reason. And there is every provision you need. There's everything, every person, every support that you need. Everything is already there. You have to walk into the manifestation of what already is. Okay. And so start to finish, and finish for the person behind you, because it's time for you to endure and finish. Now, I'm going to jump right into some keys. So I want you to write these things down. It's time for you to unleash some things in your life And so you can finish strong, whatever quarter it is for you, whatever you set out as your goals. I want to give you some keys that you can use along the way. And none of this is going to be, life-changing, earth-shattering. What I'm doing is giving you some things that you probably have heard many other times. But I really want you to think about this in the context of, what do I want my future self to reflect on and say, I did it? What is it for those of you who believe in God? What is it that you want God to say, well done? Not all of the, not the plastic fruit. That's not going to get you a well done. It's the things that are really in your heart. There's some things that you may be running from. There may be some things that you don't want to do it because you're mad about things that have happened. Some of you may be hurt or broken. And I want to encourage you to get the help and the support. Don't run away from those things that you're supposed to do. Because remember, what's in your heart to finish are the things that are going to impact other people. It's not just for you. So let's give you some keys that you can move forward, that you can endure. First key is, I want you to stop toiling and start trusting. Remember earlier I said, we're often just, doing things. We're doing things. We're so busy. We're hurrying up. I got to get to this thing and next thing and next thing and next thing. We're producing. And remember, everything you're producing is not good fruit. It's not good. It's not the right stuff. We're busy and it looks like it's productive, but it's going nowhere. And then I got to do more. So we need to stop toiling and start trusting. We've got to step back and stop thinking that we can figure everything out, because some things that have been placed in your heart to finish, you won't be able to figure out on your own until you stop toiling. I believe God will allow you to toil and spin your wheels and try and frustrate you. And you can spend all this money, and then you get to the end of your rope and you sit back and listen, start trusting. So stop toiling and start trusting more. Start listening to that inner voice, that quietness that speaks to you, that says, this is the way to do this. It won't always make sense. That's why you've got to trust, not toil. But when you keep trying to spin your wheels, you say, oh, well, I went to school for that. Oh, I took this course and I learned how to do that. Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Nope. So first thing, stop toiling, start trusting. Second key is to be still and know. That goes along with the first key. In order for you to stop toiling and trust, you've got to be still. We are some busy women. There was a time where I couldn't even go to the bathroom without taking something with me to read or do, because I felt like I needed to fill all the empty spaces. Write this down. Stop filling all the empty spaces. Stop. Because you've got a little bit of free time, don't fill it up with another appointment. Because you've got a little bit of free time, don't fill it up with have to do something. What is that about? I gotta always be busy. Sometimes that's avoidance. I want you to be honest with yourself. Why can't you be still? What are you running from? Do you not want to hear your own thoughts, or to be still to listen to see what God has to say for you? So be still and know. The third one goes back to something I mentioned earlier. Check your fruit. What have you produced over the last 12 months? What have you produced that you're proud of? If today was the last day of your life, what would you look back on and say, yes, I'm so glad I did that? I remember there was a lady when I graduated, when I went for my undergrad degree, and I was an adult with children when I went back to finish that degree. And when I finished, there was a lady who was 84 years old who was graduating. And what was so fascinating is when they asked her what she was going to do next, she said, I'm going for a master's degree. 84 years old. How about that? She didn't feel like she was too old, right? Check your fruit. What are you producing? What are you finishing? In order to endure, it requires some self-reflection. It really does. You've got to look at what you're doing and ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? Often when we do vision boards, I tell people, yep, that's great. Put the money on there, put the house, whatever you want on there. But I also encourage people to create an impact board. Create what impact will be made as a result of you making that $1 million, $1 billion, whatever it is, whatever your goal is. What's going to be different as a result of that? Put that on the board. So check your fruit. And by doing an impact board that helps you to move forward, to think about, what do I need to do? Without vision, people perish. Without lack of knowledge, right? We perish. You don't have the vision, the foresight, the something that's pulling you towards something. Talk about being able to endure. When you know there are things in your heart to do, it pulls you. It becomes a driver. It really does. So check your fruit. The next one that I want you to think about is to get up and fly. I want you to get up and fly. I want you to think about before a butterfly becomes a caterpillar, the caterpillar is on the ground. And many of us are comfortable, even though we may be like butterflies and we can soar, we want to stay on the ground. We're more comfortable. We want to stay under the radar. We want to do things that are not going to be noticed because it's going to require more responsibility. It's going to require us to have to do something else. Well, if it's in your heart to do and you know it's going to make an impact, it's time for you to get up and fly. Consider your identity and what's holding you back. So often it's fear. We say, I don't want any more responsibility. It's fear. I don't know what it's going to cost me. That's fear. What is it that's in your heart? And it's time for you to get up and fly. But the next key is you've got to get rid of some dead stuff. Yeah. Got to get rid of some dead stuff in your life. There's some technology that's weighing you down. I'm not telling you don't use technology, but these are some distractions that can be like dead stuff that hold you back, that keeps you from moving forward in the way that you really should. There's some weight, and I'm not talking about just physical weight. There may be some physical weight that you need to get rid of that's really holding you down, but there may be some emotional weight that you've got to get rid of. There's some hurts, some brokenness, some things that have happened in your life that have caused distractions, right? There's some people that you're allowing to keep you from progressing. Endurance is not just about, how fast can you get it done? You may have set a goal to get something done, but sometimes you need to shift the goal, and that's okay. But you got to get rid of those things that are keeping you from moving forward. It's really important that you be able to do that, okay? And part of that is about knowing who you are. If you're going to be like that butterfly that really gets off the ground and stops acting like it's still a caterpillar, then you've got to be clear about identity. Who are you? Who are you? Okay. And that means I need you to go back and look at your fruit. Do you notice a pattern here? I keep going back to the fruit. Check your fruit. Part of your identity, remember, is, sometimes what we see is the fruit, not the root. So what you're seeing in terms of your personality, how you behave, how you respond, how you give up on something, how quickly you're able to get things done, that's all fruit. It's not the root. Emotional intelligence, character, who you are at the core gets revealed in circumstances, gets revealed in relationships. Your skills, abilities, talents, all of these things are fruit. What's the root of that? Your spiritual gifts. These are all things that I want you to consider because, again, knowing who you are becomes really important. One of the things, a big one that we look at as fruit is procrastination. And people say, I'm such a procrastinator. I do these things. But what I want you to think about is the fact procrastination is never simply about procrastination. At the root of that, it's what you always want to look at. What's the root of my fruit? And when it comes to identity, when it comes to you procrastinating, people take that on. Well, I just procrastinate. It's just part of who I am. No, 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 no. Let's deal with that. Because underneath of that, more than likely, is fear. I don't care even if you say it's insecurity, not wanting more responsibility, but generally at the root of that is going to be fear. There are some delays that we can have in our life that will cause us to, that are not bad delays. God can create some delays. But when you create delays, often it's rooted in fear. And I just want you to be honest with yourself. So that's another key for you to consider. We want you to be able to fly and get rid of some dead stuff. People, technology that turning off some of the notifications that come through that weigh you down, that distract you. Okay. Then key number six, if you're going to develop the endurance to finish some things, I want you to encourage you to perform as if you're performing for an audience of one. Sometimes we're concerned about numbers and we give up. Oh, I don't have the numbers. I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm not going to meet this. You don't know how one person can change your life. You don't know how you can change the life of one person. But more importantly, if we ultimately perform as if we're performing for God, the one, that's all that really matters. Performing for an audience of one, that's what we've got to do. Who really matters? What really matters? Again, what's in your heart to finish? And who does that really matter to? That's a question for you to ask. I can't tell you who that's going to matter for. For me, my audience of one is God. For you, it may be someone else, something else. But if I'm performing and then it helps me to not compare me to other people. Somebody else is going to do just fantastic, wonderful. They did outstanding. Did I perform for an audience of one? Am I concerned about, did I do what's in my heart to do and what I should be doing? So perform for an audience of one. That's key number 6. Key number 7 is if you're going to develop the endurance to develop the endurance to finish, make your reward bigger than the process. We get stuck in the process and we don't move forward in the way that we should, right? And so it's so important for you to have a reward. Make it bigger than the process. It'll help you to stop keeping your focus on how much longer do I have to go? How much more do I have to do? There's a reward on the other side of that. Think about getting a medal. That helps people to endure. What about when you know that going to that signing for that building or that new home or whatever it is, the business, the office that you're opening, when you get to the side of that, all of the stuff that we go through, yes, although it may be painful, it may be stressful, all those things, the reward was bigger than the process. What's going to be your reward for finishing what's in your heart to finish? You should have written down your goal. Now I want you to think about your reward. What is it going to be? If you're going to endure, you've got to have something. For those of you who have had children, if you ever had a baby, think about enduring the process of labor, enduring the 9 months. You don't get to month 3 and say, I'll change my mind. I want to do this. Come out now. No, unless you do an abortion, which, but you endure through all the physical changes you go through, emotional changes that we go through. Why? Because what's coming on the other side of those 9 months or however long your term is someone that's going to bring tremendous joy. Yes? Make the reward bigger than the process. And finally, key number 8, give, but also receive. Giving is so important if you're going to endure. You got to be able to give of yourself in a way that might challenge you. Give of yourself in a way that's going to push you. You've got to be able to give, but I need you to also receive. We're often so good at giving, but receiving, enduring requires you to have the support in your life, have what you need. So I need you I'm encouraging you to receive those people those resources that are available to you. Going back to one of the earlier keys about be still and know, and simply trusting, stop toiling and start trusting. That gives you room to hear and to receive and to see all of the things that are around you and the people that are around you that can benefit you in the process. So give, but also receive. Remember, I said, none of this is going to be, oh my gosh, I've never heard this before. I am reinforcing for you something that can help you develop the endurance to finish and also to start some things and to make progress. Because finishers, remember in the affirmation, finishers make progress, not excuses. And so very quickly, as I bring this to a close, yes, we're going to come to a close. I hope you've been writing notes. I want to do a very quick activity. Question for you. This is something for you to think about. I really just want you to think about. For those of us who are Christians or believers, some would say, we would often say we need to cultivate the mind of Christ. And if you're going to endure, you've got to cultivate the mind of Christ. For those of you who, may have another belief system, think about what do you believe in and what is the head? What do you focus on? But the question for you is, what does it mean? What are the qualities that Christ possessed? Or for those of you who say God, what are the qualities that he possessed that you need to possess in order to endure? When I began to look at this, because we often say, I have the mind of Christ, I have the mind of Christ. What does that really mean? And how does that get played out in our lives? What does that really look like? If we have the mind of Christ, we're focused. We do nothing except God tells us to do it. If we have the mind of Christ, we may experience myriad emotions, but we're going to push forward because we know that what's on the other side of it, the reward is greater than the process. We're following instructions. So I really want you to think about that beyond this presentation. I want you to really think about what does it mean and what do you need to do in order to have that mind and to be able to endure through some things, okay? But lastly, what I want to do is for you to begin a finisher's endurance plan. And I've listed some things here for you to consider. Again, I've already asked you to list one important goal, okay? And I hope that you would make it a SMART goal, right? Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to run through some of these things. As part of this plan, you're going to identify your finisher support system. That's the FSS. Identify your finisher support system. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a coach? Do you have a therapist? What friends do you have? And guess what I have here? And yes, enemies. Because enemies can propel us. They can cause us to develop something. We want to get rid of them. We want to keep them far. Nope, bring them close. Think about that. So I want you to identify who's a part of your finisher support system, who is already there. And we're not going to be able to complete this today, but who's already there and who do you need? Where are your gaps? Do you need a mentor who can help you with the specific goal that you've identified? Do you need a coach? Do you need some more education? There's all university that's coming. There may be some courses and some support that you can receive through all university. So I want you to think about what is it that you need as part of your support system, mentor, coach, therapist, friends, and how will the enemies be part of that system? You say, I may not call that support, but it is pushing you forward, believe it or not. Some of them, not all of them. Also want you to identify your strengths and then identify potential distractions. Okay. Those personal characteristics are key. If you're going to get up and soar, if you're going to be able to fly without, even when you're fearful, to be able to push forward, that's endurance. The courage it takes to move forward, to take that first step, to make the call to the person who you'd like to mentor you, to ask someone to do something. These are all very, very important. And so I want you to begin to develop that finisher's endurance plan and utilize this or think about this information as you're looking at what else as you get throughout this retreat. Because remember, the future is calling you. And what is that older self going to reflect back on and say, yes, I did it? What is that going to look? What does that really, really look like for you? So ladies, it really is time to endure and finish. It's time for you to develop that endurance that's necessary for you to accomplish the things that are in your heart to accomplish. Again, I'm not talking about just any goal. I'm talking about finishing. So I hope you've taken notes and written down some of these things. I hope that this has challenged you in some way to think differently so that you can stop producing plastic fruit. I hope that you are checking your fruit. I hope that you look at your support system and think about the gaps that you need that can fortify you to move forward, to do everything that God has intended for you to finish. Repeat after me as we close. I am a finisher. I make progress, not excuses. I am a victor, not a victim. I run a race to finish it, not just to say I'm in it. I am a finisher, and I will finish everything I was born to finish. Yes, you can. Yes, you will. You are a finisher. Congratulations, ladies, again, on all the things that you've already finished, and much success to you as you develop the endurance to finish. Thank you so much. God bless you.